Mr. Chairman, our budget, any budget, is a statement of our nation's values and priorities, and the Republican budget once again fails to meet the American standard of balance, fairness, and shared responsibility. Next week, Democrats will unveil a balanced deficit reduction plan where everyone pays their fair share and responsibility doesn't just fall on those who can least afford it. Today, we will offer amendments to reduce the deficit by returning to Clinton-era tax rates for incomes over $1 million and by eliminating taxpayer subsidies for big oil companies that are making record profits, returning fairness and shared responsibility as defining values of our budget. The Democratic proposals will ensure that taxes are not raised on any person who makes more than $200,000. They will ensure that middle-income families do not pay a higher effective tax rate than millionaires and billionaires. Our proposals seek to protect Medicare, Medicaid, and the rest of our social safety net from the harmful cuts Republicans have proposed to pay for increased tax breaks for the well-off and well-connected. The Republican budget relies on the mythology that tax cuts for the wealthiest create jobs and promote economic growth. They would offer an average tax cut of at least $150,000 a year for the wealthiest few. This is faith-based economics, with Republicans blindly believing it works, even though there is no proof or no evidence to back that up. And yet Republicans rely on this mythology to justify an inherent imbalance and unfairness in these budget priorities, choosing to corner more money with the wealthy while seniors, children, and the poor are made to shoulder an ever-increasing load. Republicans also rely on mystery money, a magic source of revenues whose details they refuse to share, supposedly going to make their budget revenue neutral. For all the detail they've provided in this budget of where they'll get their revenue, they might as well have written their budget on a cocktail napkin. But I saved them the trouble. I did it for them. Here's their budget plan. Tax cuts for the rich, slash spending, shift health care costs to seniors, and pray for incredible growth. That's it. Mr. Chairman, I would ask that this be inserted in the record, but it would provide too much detail for the document. The President's budget and the Democratic approach ask the wealthiest to pay their fair share. Our proposals make tough cuts to programs we can't afford and strengthen Medicare, building on the Affordable Care Act's policies. Democrats have long been willing to make the difficult choices that a balanced approach demands. Our nation's values are not reflected in a budget that places the heaviest burden on the backs of working families, but one that invests in fairness and shared responsibility. Today we have a choice to defeat this reckless Republican budget and to adopt proposals that better reflect our nation's values of fairness and shared responsibility and make the investments necessary to make sure that we have a vibrant and dynamic and prosperous nation into the future. I yield back.